G'day guys, it's Cunt from S19 Crew Television, and I'm here with the very opinionated Tim Sands. I've got a couple of questions to ask him about our 7 uncontracted players. How you going, Tim?
Good, thanks, Costa. Thanks for having me. Far
Pleasure.
away.
All right, Tim. All right, we're not going to sit in specific order. What do you reckon of Dean Bazanis? His contract ends at the end of the season.
All right, now I think when grading him, we've got to grade him on what he brings to the list.
Yes.
What he's done on the pitch, and I think also to what he's contributed towards, what's the word? Supporter interaction, hence culture of the club. All right.
Yes.
So for Dean, considering I think realistically his form has dropped away substantially, I think, and especially under the threat of a younger option being available, and actually when given an opportunity having done quite well, I'd probably give Dean a 6 out of 10. I cannot fault him whatsoever for interaction with the crowd, with the supporters. What he did for my son was amazing. But I think as far as his performance on the pitch, that drags him down a bit in the recent times. Started off all right at the start of the season, but then also too, a lot of his form slump could be related to the guys that were in front of him that weren't actually playing well at the same time.
Do you think his form went backwards after the Gypsy comment?
So that was a couple of years ago now. I think that put the microscope on him a lot. And I think that's probably more along the lines of supporters and experts away from the club. So they know he might have got a bit of a label of a short fuse. And I think the best I've heard critique him was probably Bozza when he was talking about what goalkeepers in general need to do.
Yes.
And I think if he listened to Bozza, sat down at a cuppa with Bozza and talked about his game, he'd probably learn the fact that he needs to play more within his limits. I think sometimes he gets too adventurous, and that's when he usually comes undone. Yeah, and then all it takes is a goal.
When he gets adventurous and he sort of comes out of his box, do you reckon that's management problem, doesn't listen, or do you think that the coaches give him that freedom to go outside the box? Because I know playing as a goalkeeper in my younger days, my coach was strictly, you get out of the box, you're on the bench, pretty much. So do you reckon it's a coach gives him that freedom to play as a last man of defence sweeper type of player, or?
I actually think, and I actually agree with, who was our goalkeeper coach last year? Spider, was it?
Spider, yeah, Spider.
Yeah, well, Spider was interviewed earlier on this year. I think part of the interview was about his time at City and whatnot like that. But he is still a strong believer that goalkeepers should be stoppers. Pure, simple. If they can distribute and be a little bit creative, fair enough, but it shouldn't be what their game's based on. And unfortunately, from what I've viewed across the world, the game seems to be where, exactly what you said, the goalkeeper is that sweeper, distributor of the ball. And I think in doing that, we're actually rating the stopping side of things as a second skill, not the primary skill. And I think that's probably where Dean's strength probably is, being that sweeper, because he does have reasonable foot skills. But I think sometimes his stopping skills leave a little bit to be desired. I think last year when Eugene was in the role, he was more of a stopper. And I still, even with a weak defence in front of him, I still felt more confident, even though he was in the twilight of his career.
All right, moving forward. Let me get this up. Let's go with the big man, Harrison Delbridge.
Well, Harrison's getting a bit of a name for himself, being Mr. Red Card a couple of times.
Yeah, can't really fault him the first game against Western United for that red card. He slid in. All right, shouldn't have slid in the box, but he slid in to save the ball. The ball accidentally hit him on the hand. I was at that game. I think you were at the game too. Yeah, we were all at the game. I went off my nut and when he copped the red card, because that's not a red card. At least a free kick, unintentional free kick, yeah, not a penalty. Like what happened when the back pass happened and Glover picked up the ball, something like that, but not a red card and not a penalty in my books.
Wasn't the issue that he already had a yellow?
No, it was straight red. It went straight red.
It went straight red. There you go.
Yeah,
well,
straight red.
But getting back to Harrison, at one stage, I believed he was the most improved player at the club from where he started to where he was getting at, to the extent that he was pretty much pushing for potential under the radar of even the Socceroos in his position. Like, he'd improved that much. I'm not saying he would have got the call up, but he certainly would have been in the mix. What I do like about him is the fact that he actually plays with his heart on his sleeve.
Yes, he does. I agree.
Right? And I think him along with probably our captain are probably the two, and probably J Mac, they're probably the three major guys to do that. On form this year, Harrison's been a bit up and down since the second red card. I don't think the first one affected him too much, but I think getting that second one has had a bit to do with it. And I believe I'd probably give him, realistically, on this year, a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right, let's go to our two young boys. We're talking about Lockie Wales and Nathaniel Atkinson. What do you make of? They're both out of contract at the end of the season. They were in the Ollie Roos team until that mishap happened. What do you make of them?
Well, Lockie in particular, realistically on what he's done, he's not really a good finisher. He's proven that time and time again. He's had opportunities to score. I do think he does add something, though, with his leg speed. If he could tidy up his finishing, I'd say keep him. But I think it's a 50-50 whether we keep him or let him go. At the end of the day, he's probably on base wage anyway, so it's not like he's taking up a hell of a lot of the salary cap. So you got to allow for that. Is there anyone else available to do what he's going to do on the list that we don't have at the moment? Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah,
I would probably give him realistically a 4 out of 10 this year. Limited opportunities. When he has had an opportunity, he's tried hard, but just lacked the finishing.
Well, with Lockie too, like you said, his finishing is what stops him. If he could finish that ball, the kid's got the whole package. He just needs to finish. He's got the run. His pace is unbelievable. He can be a bit slack in defence. He doesn't backtrack defensive a little as much as you'd like, especially for someone as young and as fit and as fast as him. You want him to help a little bit more in defence. He's sort of like he holds back a little bit defence. If he can pick up his defensive skills, like coming back on the run, like when he attacks, he runs forward, but I find that he's a bit slow coming back. You know what I mean?
Do you think some of his lacking to get back and help might be his lack of confidence in his skill? Because you think about it, if he makes a blunder up back, it could cost a goal. Where if he makes a blunder up front, pretty much the goalkeeper gets to put the ball back into play.
Yeah,
you think that might have a bit to do with it?
You're probably right. Right, that's with Lockie. I think the kid could play football. You know what I mean?
Well, look,
Sorry, go.
I was going to say, if it was up to me, I'd keep him on the list because, as I said, he's probably at the end of the day a base paid player anyway, base rate player.
Yeah.
And he's really, look, as far as his interaction with the supporters, it's second to none. Like, he is very good at that. Very good with the kids. Interacts a lot with the kids. I've actually witnessed that. It's just the on the park stuff, and he's had limited opportunities.
Yeah. Well, let's go to Nathaniel, part of the duo, our two youngies. We talked about Lockie. Let's Nathaniel. I love the kid. I can't fault the kid, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, his first year at the club, he was under the shadow of Daniel Lazani.
Yes.
Yes. So he was under the shadow of him, and I won't even go into Azani because I'm probably one of the rare ones that doesn't have much time. But he was coming along quite well as a defender in that year. Then he got that injury. Remember when he got stretchered off?
I think he done his knee or something.
Oh, I can't remember what it was, but he was in the moon boot for a while.
Yeah, he done his knee or his ankle, one of the two. But yeah, I remember that.
Might have been the ankle, I think, because he was in a moon boot.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, but saying that, and then last year it was almost like he was playing with no touch, and I suspect he may have been injured again and getting a jab to play, which hence he wouldn't have had his, real finessing sort of touch of the ball. This year, he's actually become a player that opposition are actually worried about. He's even scored this year.
Yes, that's right.
So he now adds something there as well as a defender or winger or wherever they play him, because he's usually up back. He's the opposite side of the Jamo normally, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
But he's quite mobile. He does a lot of gut running for the club. He really does.
Keep him or let him go and get a good pick from him.
Well, I'd probably on this year give him probably a 6 to a 7 out of 10 on performance. I would say the club would be mad with the work they've put into him. Now that he's fully fit this year, that if they were to get rid of him, that's just a waste of the investment. They've got to keep Nathaniel.
Okay, yep. All right. I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname, but Dennis Gennaro.
Yeah. Now, Dennis, limited opportunity. Dennis, we'll call him Dennis, but limited opportunities this year. And I don't know, was he around last year, or was he in the youth team last year? Maybe
might have been.
I think he might have been youth team. Now with young Dennis, I believe actually, and I've said this time and time again to a few of you guys at the game, I believe he's the best of the kids. Ability-wise, I believe he's the best of the kids. Yep. I know a few of our comrades are very pro Rami.
I don't with Rami. I love the kid, but I think his headspace and he's not quite there yet with Rami. That's my opinion. I reckon the kid's got talent, but I don't think he's got the right headspace at the moment. He's one of those young kids that, that's my opinion. Back to Denny.
Can we just pause for a sec? I've got someone trying to contact me. I'll get onto that and I'll be back with you. Just a sec.
All right, yeah. So with Dennis, I know the kid, but I haven't really got an opinion from him because I haven't seen him play much. But I'm just going by what you're saying with this. I really got nothing to say about him, but go for it.
There was one game this year in particular where I think he might have got hurt via a slide tackle or something like that.
Yes.
But he was absolutely ripping the opposition to shreds. I can't remember who we were playing, to be honest. But he may have even got an assist or two in that game. He was he just has that sort of creative edge over some of the other young kids. But rumour has it he's potentially going to MacArthur, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I heard that he's going to the new club. Yes, I heard that too. But would you try to keep him, or would you just let him go and free up a spot in the list? Because he'll be on base wage.
He would be. And the problem is, though, for MacArthur to get him, they're probably going to offer him above a base wage. So, right. Can we fit him in? Because the new club is pretty much going to offer anyone to lure players. They're going to offer him above wage. But the other question is, do MacArthur come in next season on the back of this season not being completed because of the pandemic? Does the A-League, to stabilise the competition, say, you guys are going to have to wait another 12 months?
That's another episode, another whole kettle of fish we could open up there. All right, let's go to
Oh, sorry, but I would probably, on what I've seen of Dennis,
yes.
he'd probably be on a 3 out of 10, only because limited opportunity.
Yes. Now, the last spot, this number 7th player that we're going to talk about is Florin Berenger. He's a marquee. I personally, I love him. I think he's probably in our best 11 every day of the week. Like you said a few weeks ago, or before this pandemic happened, that once Frenchie scores, he is going to explode. And he scored, and he's just taking his game to that next level. Do you keep him, or you say, thank you, Frenchie, for your services, we're going to go another option?
Here's the equation I think that we as a club need, or as a team need to look at, right? I agree. Like last season, you'd probably say, well, that was a waste of money having him as a marquee because he didn't really light up anything, all right? This year, correct, I did say to you guys that I think if he scores, that'll be it, and he'll burn. And I think that's happened. But the scenario I have here for us is, all right, he's currently a marquee player, all right? We currently have a Spaniard on our list who has got a beautiful pedigree for football, has played at a very, very solid high level of football. He started to show, with not having much football in the last 6 months before coming to the city, he started to show towards before this break that he's going to be a force to reckon with. Now,
Yes.
do we put Florin onto a visa, and do we offer Sisayeta the marquee spot is my question.
I agree. I think both of them in the squad will be unstoppable, especially with the likes of Jamo, because realistically, if J-Mac keeps on playing the way he's playing with the supply he's getting from Sisayeta and Florin Berenger, J-Mac's not going to be at City for long.
Yeah,
You know
what's he
what I mean?
got? He's got about another. He's got he signed on for 3.5 years. So
2
realistically,
years.
he's got 2 years left.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, if something happens and he doesn't go overseas, I would say he'll probably stay at City.
Yes.
I don't see him going to another A-League club now.
The only other A-League club I could see him going to, if he wants to go that path, is something closer to home, because he lives in Sunbury, maybe Western United. Maybe.
Yeah, I get
But I
the
don't see
feeling
it happening.
No, I get the feeling he's a Melbourne boy, even though it's Sunbury. He seems to be the sort that is very passionate, and I know money talks, but why he's a marquee player at Melbourne City? Why would he want to go to another A-League club? Is my question, because of what they're building. But yeah, Sasayeta, or however we pronounce it, I think is a must. We need him signed up moving forward.
All right, so you reckon with Frenchie?
Just for the record, Frenchie's probably on weighing up last year to what he's done this year. I would put Frenchie at probably a 7.5 out of 10.
Yes.
I think he's done really well.
All right, now I'm going to ask you a question. Bazanis, keep or leave? Keep or go? You got to think, this is the question too, Timmy. The question is, if we're going to go ahead with and this is what I'm thinking, all right, if we're going to go ahead with Glover as our number one keeper, is there a better second keeper than Bazanis Australian? Because you're not going to give a goalkeeper a marquee spot. You're not going to go after a big top, and even though we got a lot of Australian good talent, you're not going to give top dollar to a second keeper. You know what I mean?
The only way you would have a goalkeeper as a marquee player, and it would be very left field, they'd have to be a world-class goalkeeper.
Like
and
a Sorensen.
let's face it. world-class goalkeeper, not a has-been world-class goalkeeper.
That's right. Yeah.
They would have to currently be, and no world-class goalkeeper is going to play A-League football.
Exactly. So would
so
you keep him as a second and use Glover as your first, or just say, you know, Dean, thank you for your services, thank you for your time in City. We're going to go other option.
I'll put it to you this way. Is Dean's heart going to be in it if his partner's over in Europe playing football while he's in Australia playing football? Is his heart going to be in it? Yeah. That's my first question. And I think the club should sit down with him and say, what are you going to do when your partner's over in Europe? Because that's the rumours that she's going to Europe to play in the women's version of the EPL. I can't remember its name. It escapes me, right? So if she's going there, is he going to be able to hold down, one, a long-distance relationship? Two, is his head always going to be on the game because he might be missing his partner? These are all the sort of questions. It's not just a pure football question for him, I don't think. Yeah. I think it's a lifestyle 50-50. Question.
You're 50-50 with Dino.
Well, no, I'm just thinking what the club have to do.
You're the club. Let's just say you're the club. You're gonna, just to say hypothetically, you're in charge of yes or no's. If you were at the club and this is just you, yeah, we're not talking about this is what the club's going to do. We're not talking about this is what the club should do. Would you keep him?
All right. Now, first of all, I love Dean the bits. I'll put that on the table there. But if I was in charge of recruitment and managing the list,
yes,
on the back of knowing the backstory about his partner going over to Europe, on form this year, knowing very well that we don't want to be paying him the kind of dollars we'd be paying him to be a sit on the bench as the backup keeper. If we're going with Glover, I would be saying, Dean, we're going to release you.
But there's rumours out that I'm pretty sure that Dean's on about 100 to 120 a year.
Yep.
All right. Now, are you going to find, like, if we're going to go with Glover, and Glover's going to be our main focal point as the keeper, we're going to build our team around Glover and kicking goals. Is there a better second keeper out in Australia that's good enough or better than Vazanis? Because I honestly, if we're going to use Glover as our main, I'd say we keep Vazanis because he's a good second keeper. He's got experience. He's got good foot skills. That's my opinion.
The problem you have there, which is what I was sort of alluding to before with his head, if he's going to be there paid to sit on the bench all year and his partner's over in Europe, his head won't be in it, I don't think. I can't speak for him, but I mean, if I had his shoes on and I was in that role and I had a partner over in Europe playing, I'm sitting on the bench, she's over in Europe playing good football, I could be over there. Even if I wasn't playing, I could be over there. At least it's sharing it with her instead of sitting on my bum on the bench all the time. I would probably not have my heart in it.
Okay,
and that's the problem. That's the big question, I think.
Sorry for that. Lucky Wales. Yay or nay?
Well, I sort of said I'd keep him because I don't think we're going to get a player of even his level on base wage on the list, and you need some base wage players. Unless there's another kid in the youth team coming up, which I'm not aware of, not to say there isn't, I'm just not aware of it, I would still keep him, but he would have to have some KPIs for the year to demonstrate that he's starting to finish and things like that.
Mr. Red Card, Harrison Delbridge.
We've been known as a club since our existence as City. I must be honest, I followed it from a distance when they were Heart. But we as a club have been classed as soft, plastic, all those sort of terms from some of the A-League giants. Harrison has some genuine mongrel. We cannot afford to lose it. Yes, he probably needs to control his split second decisions at times, occasionally, right? Because they have
we all do.
irrespective.
We all do.
Yeah. Irrespective
of it's called.
Yeah, but irrespective of whether or not it should have been a red, it was a red. He did make a split second decision, all right? I think he needs that to be sort of drummed into him. We love your aggression, but it's got to be controlled aggression. But to answer your question, if we were to let him go after what we've put up with him, as in when I say put up with him, the time we've put in with him coming back to Australia, we're mad. He has to stay.
Okay. Dennis, we know that he's going probably to the new club in Sydney, but would you splurge a little bit more to keep him?
I don't think we can on the back of the limited opportunities he's had. We're only anticipating that he's going to be the better of the kids. I personally think he is, but if he's wanting more money, I don't think he's done anything to warrant it. If he's wanting more money, maybe Lockie should be on more money is the question, because Lockie's had more pitch time.
True. All right. There's one player that we did forget, and it's my bad. It's Roston Griffin. He's up for his contract end of season.
And look, he's been a bit of a wanderer in the A-League. I think he's played at Perth, and did he play anywhere else? Did he play somewhere else?
I'll tell you now. Just Google his name.
He definitely played Perth, and I think he went overseas for a little while as well. So he's a bit of a journeyman, you might say, as far as A-League goes, which there are quite a few of them in the A-League because, as we know, that's what A-League clubs seem to do. They seem to recruit someone else's reject. Now, I'm not saying he's a reject, but that seems to be what they do.
You know, while going on Wikipedia, he did play Perth. He played. He started off North Queensland Fury, played at Central Coast. He played 23 games for the Fury. He's played 48 games from Central Coast. He's played 35 for the Glory. He went away to Rota JC.
Yep.
18 games. Came back to Perth, played another 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
Over, I'm not even going to pronounce the name. He played one season for Pakatok Tashkent. I don't even know that pronounced right. And then he's played Melbourne City.
Okay. Now, with him, though, too, I think he may have been the captain of Perth at one stage.
I'm not sure.
I think I've heard that in the commentary when I was watching games.
Okay.
And he may have also been at Perth possibly when they won one of their titles.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he has. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, just on the back of that, you would presume that he brings leadership.
Yes.
And experience.
Okay.
Personally, I think he's been thrown from pillar to post this year where he's had to fill the voids of someone's down. So he plays out of position. You know, I think he's had to go up back, hasn't he, at times?
All right, we're running out a bit of time here, son, because we've gone a bit way over. Let's say Florin Brunja and Nathaniel Atkinson.
All right. Firstly, keep Griff. Re-sign him.
Yes.
Now, Atkinson, re-sign, absolutely no doubt, because he's come along a mile this year. And Florin, if he doesn't want to go to a visa, unfortunately, it's goodbye, because I think we need to keep Sasieta, and the only way to keep him is to have him as a marquee.
Oh, beautiful. Guys, that's it for today. Keep posted for further commentary from the rest of the boys, Jack, Chris, and Danny. This is Con. That's Timmy.
Howdy ho.
Thank you for watching S19 Crew TV. We'll be back shortly with another episode. Stay safe, stay at home, and keep cool. There's only one team in Melbourne, Melbourne City. See you guys.